Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday, the 2nd of December. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is still in this bull flag or mid-move consolidation. We're hoping above the rising 50-day line 82.20 and above that broken October resistance line at the same level. Looking for an end-of-day close basically through 83.05 to give us a move to 8400 and beyond. Best case is by the end of this month we get up to 8600 in the form of a Christmas rally, and that would be the top of the one-year rising trend channel. On the downside, hoping that we won't get anything lower than 8140, which is the 200-day moving average. RSI at 60, so in a good place for further moves to the upside. Moving on to the DAX, and here ignoring the French woes at the moment and pushing higher after the gap higher that we had on Thursday. Above 19,500, we were looking for the top of the rising trend channel from this time last year as high as 20,700 as a year-end target, and only 1,000 points to go. Ideally, we stay above 19,500 in the meantime, helped by that RSI rebound at neutral 50. Worst case at the moment, the floor of the channel there, 19,200, but not expecting anything worse than 19.5. Moving along to the Dow, and here looking good for the initial target there at that August resistance line projection, 45,300. Best case would be up to 46,800 by the end of the year, effectively the top of that rising July trend channel. And ideally, we stay above the top of the old trend channel there, 44,100. While we get to as high as the 47,000 zone. Moving on to Bitcoin, where we're willing the market to head to 100,000. Obviously, so far that's not going that well. We are still above the old peak there, 93,500 that we had earlier in November. That's 93,458, in fact. Above that, still looking for 100,000. In fact, more accurately, up to 101,000, which is that April resistance line projection. After that, best case, up to 120,000. Hopefully by the end of next month. Worst case, we've got to retest the old target there. We had the March resistance line projection from last year. From actually this year, 89,000 as new support. Moving along to gold, and here waiting for this market to break back above the 50-day line, 2680. If we can do that, then it's obviously retesting 2745, hoping that we can get up to as high as 2860 by the end of this month. If we can get through that 50-day line relatively quickly. RSI at 52, so back above neutral 50, and that helps. Moving along to the stocks, and starting off with Atome, and here we had a bear trap from below the May support there. That was at basically 52 pence, above that initial target here up to 64 pence, and the combination of the 50 and 200-day moving averages. Best case scenario, maybe over the next couple of months, up to 88 pence in the top of that broadening triangle from this time last year. Good news on the capex front from Capital Metals, and here we've gapped off the low, which is one of our favourite things to happen. We're already expecting the 1.5 pence area to be the floor in the shares, and that's proved to be the case. Big unfilled gap to the upside today, and especially while we're above that 50-day line. 1.8 pence looking for a minimum to retest October resistance at 2.6 pence over the next few days. The key here is breaking back above the 50-day line, 2.75 pence. If we can do that over the next week, we would be relatively happy. On to Condor, which I covered apparently on the 24th of November. So that would have been around the time when the shares were breaking the 200-day moving average. It looks like everyone and their mother bought ahead of today's takeover announcement from Metals Exploration, which is obviously very clairvoyant of them. But the real break here was a break of that falling wedge there in the 50-day line at 20.7 pence, which I think we covered as well. And on that basis, you had every excuse to be in there for a move up to 36 pence, basically retesting the May resistance. The key now is that we stay above the former target there at 28 pence on an end-of-day close basis. If we can do that, then we are looking for the mid-30s one more time. Moving along to E-Star, where we've had an update from the company today. Here you can see that we have gapped off the low, which is one of our happy things to do, and broken through the 50-day line. End of day close above 1.2 pence, and we could be looking at heading back towards the 1.8 pence area, basically the resistance on the way down. But obviously we want to stay above recent support and the gap floor at 1.1 pence. On to Energy Pathways, where it would seem that the stock has managed to resist the rather horrible things said about the company in certain quarters. But here we've got the shares remaining above the floor of that rising trend channel there, around 9.5 pence above that. Still looking for up to 15 or 16 pence for the stock. If you're fussy, I suppose you wait for a break of recent resistance around 10 and 3/4 pence before assuming that 15 or 16 pence is on its way. Worst case is that we break the floor of the channel there at 9.5 pence and have to retest the 50-day line. But at the moment, that seems relatively unlikely. Moving along to Eurasia, where I suppose after the rally that we had last month, the shares trying to get back above the old support there. The old support there around 1.96 pence. Bear trap rebound from below that. It would be nice to see an end of day close back above the 200-day line at 2 pence to give us a chance of retesting the top of the range. And obviously, Eurasia tends to be is a Russia-Ukraine trade, obviously on the side of there being peace. Another Trump trade, which has turned into a Russia trade, is Ferrexpo, and it's trying to break out of, or has been trying to break out of the recent mid-move consolidation flag, so it's between 75 pence and 86 pence. Want to see an end-of-day close above 86 pence to give us our final target here, which is that resistance line projection there from the beginning of February at 102 pence. That could be on if we, it could be on by the end of this month. We have a reasonably quick break of the range high at 86 pence. On to Ferro Alloy, and here it's all about their carbon black substitute, which is obviously very, very exciting. Gapped up today, and after a bear trap rebound from below the 200-day moving average at 5 pence, looking for 9 pence again by the end of this month. Global Petroleum is next, and here it's almost rising every day and doing rather better today than it has in recent days. Top of the rising trend channel there at 0.45, which I've been pointing to rather optimistically over the recent past, and we're looking for that while we're above 0.3 pence and hoping for that will happen well before the end of this month. On to GS Technologies, which I've looked at many times, and here sort of mid-move consolidation, hopefully. 1.5 pence the barrier in the near term. If we can get through that, then it's up to 2 pence by the end of this month. But end of day close above 1.5 is hopefully the trigger there. Moving on to IQE, and here it looked as though we've got an inverted head and shoulders there. We just need an end of day close through basically 13.25 pence, which is the neckline resistance. Initial target then would be to fill the gap up to around 14.5 pence, but the big prize, if we can stay above the right-hand shoulder there at 11.8 pence, would be to head up to 22 pence, maybe by the end of next month, if this is indeed an inverted head and shoulders. On to Oracle Power, which has gone up and stayed up for the first time in a long, long time. I was hoping that they would do that, and it actually has. Broadening triangle there, top of the triangle there at 0.047. And looking for that by the end of this month, or obviously much sooner, especially while we remain above the latest support there at 0.031. Orosur is next, and here, happy picture in the case we've got the second gap higher in recent days. We were looking, and we're still looking for the shares to break out of their main 2p to 6p range. If we can do that, then the next level up would be the old March-April 2023 resistance around 8.5 pence. Ideally, we stay above the latest gap there at 4.8 pence. On to the last three, and the first one is one of today's top risers, Pipehawk. And here you can see that made progress within this broadening triangle. The initial target there around 2.2 pence. If we can break through that, then the best case scenario target up to 4 pence by the end of this month. Ideally, we stay above the 50-day line at 1.5 pence in the meantime. Finishing off with Seascape, and here had a gap to the upside, but still have this sort of mid-move consolidation. Shares have done rather well, given that there was a placing of £2 million at 35 pence. Want to see a proper end of day close above October resistance at 39.8 pence in order to get us up for a new leg to the upside at 64 pence. But obviously at the moment, that seems a long way away. Finishing off with Tomco, and here another stock that's gone up and stayed up. We've got the top of the triangle there from back in January, as high as 0.1 pence. That's our target, especially while we're above the top of the old gap there, or the middle of the old gap there at 0.06, above 0.06, looking for 0.1 pence plus on Tomco. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.